Some of this class that was at the gathering a little earlier probably had to go on home and go to bed, probably their bedtime. The younger ones stayed.
We'll be leaving.
And we're going to do our best to call every player's name or their representative if they are unable to be here, either through whatever reasons, including the fact that they have gone on to that gridiron in the sky, if you'll pardon that. I will, at this time, when I call the player's name, if the player is out there, these names are from this afternoon's gathering. Would you please just kind of step forward a step or so and wave? First of all, Mr. Carnett Atkinson. Here for his brother, Hiram Brock, Ronnie Brock, representing Hiram Brock. Tonight's honorary captain of the 51 team, Mr. Kelly Brock. Kelly Brock. Mr. Tennyson Brock. Representing 51 quarterback, Taylor Bruner, Mrs. Ruth Roach, if she's here. I know she was earlier. Ruth Roach. Representing Taylor Bruner. Here on behalf of their father, representing Wayne Bush. Any of his children, did they make it here onto the field? Yes, there they are. Hey, hey. Let's see. Tommy, Mrs. Tommy, Cindy, and Tim, and Mrs. Tim. Wayne Bush. Representing his dad, Mr. Charles Carter, Kevin Carter, his son, Kevin Carter. Unable to be here tonight was Mr. Paul Davidson to represent his brother who passed away recently, Udon Davidson. A big hand for them. One of the more seasoned veterans that when they played, moved down from Slocum, Alabama, one of our leading players on that first team, Kenneth Gibbons. Kenneth Gibbons. A sophomore end on that same team, Gary Hall. Gary Hall. Unable to be here tonight, but a Vernon resident, was a part of that team, Mr. Richard Haskins. How about a hand for Richard Haskins? Unable to be here tonight from Mobile, Alabama. One of the most popular players on that team. I know he was. I talked to him last week. He said he was. Bruce Hasty. Let's remember Jerry Kelly, who passed away a few years ago. Representing Robert Lee off that team will be his widow Christine, his daughter Roxanne, and her husband Jerry. One of the outstanding guards on that team, one that suffered all kinds of slings and arrows and carrying out his duties as a Yellow Jacket, Mr. Kenneth McFadder. Kenneth McFadder. One of those twin towers that we had playing tackle on that team back then, along with your captain, Kelly Brock, Mr. Ernest Marshall. Ernest Marshall. About 10 years ago, this fellow passed away down in the Tampa area. We had hoped that some of his family could be here tonight. He was a 3-year player for the Yellow Jackets, starting in the 10th grade, Carlos Miller. How about a big hand for Carlos Miller? Another member of that same class on that team, Joe Miller. Joe Miller. Another sophomore member of that team that year, from Wausau, Florida, Mr. Floyd Owens. Floyd Owens and his wife, Winnie. The younger of the two Parrish boys that played football, Howell Parrish, and his wife Joanne. His brother that taught Howell all he knows, Mr. James Parrish, scored the first touchdown for the Yellow Jackets that year against that big bunch of Crestview Bulldogs. Just took it and put it in the end zone on them. A ninth grader that started many games that year and for the subsequent years, Coleman Register, Mr. Coleman Register. Unable to be here tonight, but communicating with us from up near Washington, D.C., a fellow that did well as a Vernon Yellow Jacket, did well serving his country, retired Brigadier General William Howard Rhodes, who could not be here tonight. Also, not being able to be here tonight was a guard off that team, Skeet Simmons, who has many, many relatives right here in Vernon. Skeet Simmons. A guard off that team, right off Bonnie Pond Road, Mr. Burl Waller. Burl Waller. Unable to be here tonight, but represented by his daughter and his grandson, Tyler. John Huey Waller passed away about 2 or 3 years ago. Tyler, thank you. A sophomore end on that team, big tall guy, played a lot of football, basketball, and everything else, including stringed instruments in the FFA band, Mr. Maxwell. Hey! And Mr. Maxwell is holding up a copy of that first jersey that he got when he was a Yellow Jacket in 1951. Look at that jersey. And all the way up from the, thank you, Max, all the way up from the Tampa area, a halfback on that team. He drove all the way up for this. His wife and 2 daughters are with him. Mr. Walden Wells. We want to recognize a couple of the cheerleaders tonight. Dolores Miller, who passed away just 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember for sure. But she's represented here tonight by her sister Karen. And the cheerleader captain that year, one of the most popular kids at school, according to what all of them tell me. And we're so glad to see her here tonight. Came over from Tallahassee, Kathleen Miller Simmons. Kathleen, cheerleader captain. If I didn't call your name, it's because I didn't mean to. Step out and wave at me. Who was that?
She was playing.
How about a big hand for the Yellow Jackets, 1951? Thank you, Sidney, for establishing the football program at Vernon High School that has brought so much pleasure and meant so much to so many here in the Vernon area and surrounding country. Thank you, 51 Yellow Jackets. God